How's it going, crypto community and XRP Martians alike? If you're new, you're now tuning in to the Martian Report with me, Jade Martian. If, once again, you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, like this video if you enjoy my content, and if you really enjoy it, be sure to ring the bell by the end so you can stay up to date with all content XRP related that I'm releasing out to you, right? In this video, we're going to be going over CNBC's crypto trader segment where they're talking about Kik. And the reason that I'm going to be breaking down this little segment here is because we did do an article. Actually, we've talked about a few articles related to Kik about the fact that Circle and them are filing a class action lawsuit against the SEC, and they already had put in $5 million towards it. Now we see this, the SEC trying to slap Kik and Kin for not registering with the SEC as a security. So this is going to be a conversation between Ran and the CEO of Kik discussing what's going on here, and we'll jump into that a little bit, right?
The SEC is suing Kik for $100 million. In court papers filed this week, the SEC accused Kik of raising capital through the sale of unregistered securities. The lawsuit is the first such lawsuit filed by the SEC and is seen as an aggressive attack not only on Kik, but on the entire US crypto industry. Despite the aggressive nature of the filing, Kik is adamant that they won't be bullied by anyone, especially not the SEC. With me on the line from San Francisco, I've got a man who's got big balls, to say the least. I've got the founder of Kik, Ted Livingston. Ted, I'd say it's been a rough couple of days for you.
I think it's been exciting. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
Okay, tell me what that means. When was the first time you heard from the SEC?
We first heard from the SEC over 18 months ago, 3 days after our token sale.
And what did you hear from them?
At first, it was just a friendly reach out. Hey, we just want to understand what you're doing. Then there were subpoenas and then testimony. And finally, they issued us what's called a Wells notice in November last year. We issued them our Wells response. We took both those things public in January. And then finally, just recently, we said enough is enough. Let's go public. Let's go to court.
Ted, did you actually think the SEC would sue?
We weren't sure. What we knew is we and everybody else in this industry needed clarity one way or the other. So we said to the SEC, you've let us know that you think there's infraction here. We're going to tell the world that. So one way or the other, you're going to give us clarity. Either you choose to go ahead and we can fight this out in court, or you back down, and that in and of itself will be guidance.
Okay, now you must have seriously big balls to go against.
So let's be really clear why I'm also sharing this too, right? Because of the words that just came out of his mouth, right? This is a really important case, and Kik. The reason that I believe that they are raising these funds is because I think that there is the potential that Kik realized as soon as they finished their ICO round and what they were doing, by January they were like, we have all of our chips in order, and the SEC is still talking about this, so it's time for us to go in, show that we're a clean case, and then we'll have regulation because the SEC's hands will be tied because they decided to come after somebody that they didn't have any right going after, right? So that's why he's like so confident. That's what he's coming across with, right? He's like, dude, let them sue us. We were the ones that brought this all public. We're the ones that made public statements, bringing it to the public's attention, and we did so for a reason. And that reason is because we need we need regulatory clarity, right? So let's continue.
Against the SEC, what are you thinking?
We've been in this business a long time. I started Kik over 10 years ago, and along the way, I've dealt with many bullies along the way. And in the past, I've made mistakes with how I've done that. I've been quiet. I've been fearful. And what I've learned is the best way when a bully punches you in the face is to start punching back.
Okay, but this is not an ordinary bully. This is the US government you're messing with.
This is a group that has, I think, originally good intentions, but what we've come to discover is they continue to divide and conquer the whole industry, and everybody's in this state of fear of what will the SEC think. And at this point, this is having real impact on our ability to compete on a global stage.
And let's be really clear too, right? Many of you watched my dissection of the May 31st SEC panel discussing fintech and the future of digital assets, right? And on that panel, we got all this praise and good words and promises that they weren't going to be slapping stickers, security stickers on digital assets anymore, and yet they're doing it to Kin. And, CEO of Kik here, he's just like, no, we're done with it, They're wanting to be bullies. They want to slap us, try slapping our small marketplace around, we're going to stand up for the marketplace and we're going to start slapping back. If they want to fight, then we're going to give it to them, because at least from this gentleman's position, from the founder of Kik's position, they're in the right. And that won't be settled until court, but, for now, he seems very confident, and I don't think anybody would argue that, his presentation and the way that he's presenting himself is him, just trying to bolster. It's very apparent looking into his face that he's dead serious. He's so confident that Kin and Kik are going to come out on top of this, and that means that the industry will come out on top, right?
Help me understand exactly what the SEC is going after you for. Are they going after you for raising money in an ICO? Or are they going after you because you've got an instrument in circulation that doesn't comply with SEC requirements?
This is one of the really interesting things. In our original Wells notice that we received from them back in November, they talked about both Kin that we sold in the token distribution event 18 months ago, but also its usage today and the Kin that the Kin Foundation was going to give out and was giving out. But today in their suit, they don't talk about anything to do with Kin being used today or anything to do with the Kin Foundation. It's purely about the token sale in 2017. So to me, that's exciting. They've backed down the idea that Kin today, being used in dozens of apps by millions of people, is a security. They made no comment on that today when they did back in November.
And so once again, further emphasizing how good news this case actually is for crypto, right? For blockchain. And I think that's ultimately why you're seeing this confidence in him that I just pointed out, because the SEC, even though they were going after Kin because of their ICO, as we read in articles, in the article that I did cover on this topic, even though their initial coin offering could have wound them up being labeled as a security. Ever since, based upon the fact they've been giving away all this Kin and they're developing out this ecosystem now on top of the Kin platform, it's clear that the SEC is no longer able to label it as a security. And it is also worth noting that the SEC, during their May 31st panel, had also said that there were several cryptocurrencies that were wrongly labeled securities, and that those labels would be retracted. And also, apologies if you can hear some racket out in the mic, so apologies for that. But as always, I am not living in a home alone, so of course there will be interruptions every once in a while. But back to the topic at hand, this is really kind of exciting stuff, right? Because we've been hearing this one-sided story essentially from the articles that we've been reading, that are painting this as sort of like a doomsday scenario, trying to FUD the market, when in reality, this could actually be a monumental turning point for our space once we get some kind of resolution out of this, right?
From the documents I've read, it seems like they're nailing you for luring investors to invest and telling them that they would make profit. How would this go against the Howey test?
That is not what the Howey test is. Just because something can become more valuable does not make it a security. Just because a group of people have a common incentive does not make it a security. The Howey test makes that very clear from the 1940s. So to us, the analysis is clear, and that's why we got excited when the Dow report came out saying the Howey test was the correct test. Well, if that's the case, then it's clear that cryptocurrencies to us do not fall within the jurisdiction of securities.
But Ted, they're claiming that you went out and enticed people to purchase the token, saying it was a good investment and saying that it would grow in value. I mean, I myself heard you saying similar things on stage back then. If this is their claim, what is your response?
I think this is a gross mischaracterization and misleading of the facts. What we did is we explained basic crypto economics. The fundamental innovation of crypto is you can issue a digital asset that has guaranteed scarcity. So economics 101, if you have an asset where there's only so much, and if more and more people want that asset, then that asset will become more valuable. We went on to say we did not promise anything, that we, of course, could not guarantee the value of Kin, and we could not guarantee the demand of Kin. And in fact, if Kin was only ever in Kik, it would not work. So to us, that is not a security.
And so let us be very clear, right? This is the big debate, and this is why the SEC is going to lose its ass, right? Because the SEC is attempting to label currencies as securities because of basic economics, right? When you have a scarce currency, as he said, And it exists. The reason we went economics 101 is because they didn't want to get too complex on it. But the reason that scarce currencies gain value so rapidly is because at this present moment in time, you use a non-scarce currency to purchase everything in your life. Everything in your life revolves around non-scarce currencies, aka fiats, like the US dollar, like the British pound, like the euros, so on and so forth, right? So because of this, there is a very real profit to be made, because the profit you are seeing yourself make when you invest in these platforms is not so much the asset itself making you rich, as much as you just stored value that has matured as the fiat ecosystem has depreciated, right? You're not gaining value so much as the value in the market outside of cryptocurrency is depreciating in value. So that's why we're seeing the value of these assets go up. That's why it's called a wealth transfer, not a wealth creation, right? Anyways, let's continue on.
Ted, as the CEO, are you worried that they could come for you personally?
This is a straight Section 5 violation with no claim of fraud. It is a pure civil suit, so it is against the company.
So Ted, you're willing to risk your entire company for this?
One of the other mischaracterizations that the SEC put forward is that this was a last-ditch Hail Mary effort. And which to them, I would say, there's not another messenger in the world, in the Western world, that makes money. iMessage doesn't make money. Facebook Messenger doesn't make money. WhatsApp doesn't make money. Telegram doesn't make money. And yet today, 2 years later, after we went all in on crypto, you see messengers around the world doing the same thing. Telegram, Facebook, Kakao, and Line are now all pivoting into that same thing. So I don't call it a Hail Mary. I call it one of the best plays in the history of business.
And I don't think that he could have put that any other way, right? Or any better. What is going on is a pivotal moment for our industry. The SEC is trying to throw a Hail Mary, as they say, to get some kind of crackdown on this, but in the reality, their Hail Mary is going to fall flat, and it's going to fall right into the receiving hands of the opposing team, Kik, and they're going to run with it. And they're going to run it for the greatest play in business history, as he just said. Because, as is clear to anybody that's actually paying attention to what this ecosystem they're investing in is, and what a security is, and what the Howey test is, these are things that if you are a brand new investor, you probably aren't really aware of, you don't really know a whole lot about, but they're important things to come to learn in regards to the space. Not going to spend the time to break all those down here. Hopefully many of you already know about that, so I don't feel bad for not giving you that. But if you don't know about the Howey test or anything that or what a security is, please go Google it, go watch a few videos, so you can get a really strong grasp of what's going on. But yeah, this is actually really exciting, and I hope that you all find it equally as exciting, right? Because this is good news, and it's good news that was painted as FUD for us, a few weeks prior. But now CNBC is coming out, CNBC Africa at least, is coming out with this, mainstream media message saying, hey, guess what? The USSEC is kind of making some dumb moves here if they actually wanted to ban this stuff, but some brilliant moves if they want to just create some to give regulatory clarity in a heartbeat, right? And a heartbeat is really, probably months, depending on how long it takes for the Kik case to actually be pushed through, right? But we might see regulation coming out even before that, so that maybe they really want to sink Kik for whatever reason. I doubt it, but they could try. There could be some behind the scenes moves being made that fund the downfall of Kin, right? But as of right now, I'm actually feeling pretty confident, especially with what the founder of Kik was just sharing there, right? He's the idea is that Kin has been falsely labeled a security because of how it did its ICO, but at the end of the day, just like the SEC said in their May 31st interview there, that we covered again, these things that were the regulation for crypto assets needs to be mutable, right? As in, it needs to be able to be changed. It needs to be able to mutate as it goes to determine what you will what your value will be at, right? So before we hop out real quick, jump over to Bitcoin here on the hourly, because we have had a little bit more of a price drop since I made my last video. But as you can see, the price is basically doing exactly what I wanted it to do, what I was expecting it to do, you know, come down, play in this range. This is a dangerous point right here the next few hours. It'll be interesting to see if XRP can get a strong bounce back up to go back up to its previous range, especially now that we are testing near the bottom of this current wave that we are on, right? This is a healthy higher low retracement that we're setting here. It could potentially come back down even a little bit lower, you know, maybe down straight to flat 40. But for now, it looks like it might actually be peaking or bottoming out right here, right at the bottom of this triangle. So expect some interesting moves out of XRP within the next day or so. It's going to be really interesting to see how much of an upward motion we can get out of this. Once this longer term trend, I think this is actually a 4-hour trend that we're watching take place. Looks like it to me. I'd say that's a 4-hour trend playing out, right? So once this 4-hour trend reverses back into the bullish momentum, into the upward momentum, we should be able to see ourselves going back up to the 44-cent range and hopefully beyond that, right? So with all that, I hope you found this video informative. I hope you are feeling confident in your investment in XRP or KIN if you are a KIN investor that just watched this, right? I hope you're confident in whatever digital assets you are investing in, because if you lack confidence in your investment, it's probably not a good investment, but that's just my opinion. I hope that this finds all of you well. As always, you've been watching Jade Martian. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. And don't forget to ring that bell if you want to stay up to date and current on everything XRP cryptocurrency related. Even things that, like this KIN example, are maybe not directly related to XRP, but are due to the regulatory nature that this ecosystem is desperately searching for, right? So with that, thank you once again for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and until then, I'll see all of you on Mars.